Good morning, everyone. Hello, hello. Trying to figure out there's some stuff showing up. Um, Hi. Good morning. Happy Saturday. If it's the weekend for you, awesome. I hope you have a great weekend. If it's not the weekend for you, I hope the weekend goes well for you, whatever you're doing. Starting a little late today. I actually stayed up until midnight last night, or a little after midnight, watching the newest season of Married at First Sight because it finally came on Netflix. And I'm addicted to it. I don't know why. I just really enjoy like predicting which couples will last and which ones won't, and then seeing what happens. So I watched the first three episodes last night and somehow stayed up till after midnight. If you know me, day job as a teacher, I go to bed like my bedtime is 8:40. It's usually like 9 o'clock that I fall asleep. And on Fridays, it's very normal for me to fall asleep before 9 p.m. And I didn't. I don't know how I did it. I was just that engaged in the show, I guess. Um, so yeah, I woke up about 8:30 this morning and did a little workout. And so now I'm like just kind of lagging. I haven't had my coffee yet. So I'm going to turn my laptop so you can see me finish my coffee. It's almost made. Um so hold on one second. Let me turn this to the kitchen. So while my coffee sits, I'm going to add some pumpkin spice seasoning to my milk, which is oat milk. I try to cut down on dairy because it makes me break out, and just adding a little bit of vanilla extract. So while the coffee's doing its thing, turn you guys back. We'll wait just a couple more minutes. Let's do this way. I know you can see like a little bit. There's my bag. I leave it on my door because it's just easier. Um, so I will say last week I totally didn't do any lives because I kind of forgot. I so last Friday night I actually went on a double date, which was fun. It's a whole other story, but like I've just realized with the pandemic and being quarantined for so long, like I knew this. Like I lost a lot of friendships. Just kind of grew apart from people, um, and so now I just don't have a. I don't really like have friends. Like I don't go out with people very often. I have with work a couple of times, and that's about it. But yeah, so I think just going on a double date was very. It was just I felt awkward. I didn't think the night was awkward. Like the people that I was with were with, they weren't awkward. They were lovely and pleasant, and um, it was just me. Like I felt very awkward being around some like I don't know, just being in a different situation. Like I knew some people, and then one person was new to me. Um, just felt awkward. I felt awkward. I felt awkward. Um, but yeah, so that's a whole other story. But then Saturday morning, I woke up and I was with my BF, and we just kind of forgot. It was like after 10. I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to do a live. We like went out for coffee and breakfast, and it was so sweet. And then it was like 10 something. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was supposed to do a live at 10 a.m. And then I asked him if he wanted to be on it. And he was like, no, he hates being on camera more than I do. Um, but we had a great discussion about the Enneagram. So that was really fun, like a discussion about the Enneagram over coffee. And it was interesting discussing it with someone who really didn't have any opinions about the Enneagram, um, didn't know very much. Uh, he instead, he's a type five, and so type fives are incredibly curious people in many different ways. And so my BF was just he asked a lot of very good questions. He's very good at playing devil's advocate. And a lot of types are good at that. Like type sixes can be really good advocates. It's a hard word to say, but he just, yeah, he was, it was a very good conversation between us. And that's all I'll say. So I will, what did we talk? Oh yeah, first, I feel like I did a lot of talking. Um, So, something that you are proud of this week. That's what I love to start with. So, this past week, it's, I think some of it has been hard because I have a to do list. Here's my notebook. I have this notebook. This is the current one. It says Stay Golden on it. I do like bullet journaling. I write down everything I need to do or want to do for every week. And it's very helpful for me because I just won't do it if I don't write it down. However, once it's written down, I feel this need to do it and to check it off my list. Um, and the hardest part has been that this past week I told myself I need to prioritize just like doing just like taking care of myself after work, not getting more things done after work. Because that's usually what I want to do. Like I feel like I need to come home, I need to work out, I need to cook and eat dinner, and then I need to like clean my house and then maybe do like a couple things on my to-do list, like maybe editing a video and actually like editing and posting a video, which, for me, even though my videos aren't super fancy, um, they still take more than like 30 minutes to do. So I feel like I need to do all of this. However, that can also be to the detriment of me doing work. So all of this to say, I'm proud of myself for even though it was uncomfortable, I stepped back from the to do list and focused on what I need to do when I get home, which is eat, go on a walk, keep my house tidy, and that's about it. Like that's pretty much all I need to do and post. I like to post on Instagram, um, which that takes 5 minutes. So those are all really good. Those are things I tried to prioritize this week, and I'm proud of myself for doing it. It was uncomfortable, and I didn't really. I'm this morning have am trying not to look at my to do list because I feel like I have a lot to do today, and then when I think about it in retrospect, like if it's 20 years from now, like am I going to be like, man, I wish I did more on my to do list? Like probably not. I've gosh, I feel like I'm going to go on a huge tangent, and I probably shouldn't. I should not go on a huge tangent. I'm not going to do it. So, anyways, I'm proud of myself for prioritize, prioritizing things that I need to help me relax after work and not just checking things off of a to do list, even when it's uncomfortable. So, let me turn my camera one more time so I can get my coffee, and then we'll get started talking about type sevens. And I've got my new favorite box mug from Molly Makes Critters. So cute. Okay, let's bring you guys back. All right, so type sevens. I'm excited to talk about type sevens. I have a lovely coworker who is a type seven, or at least at this point, she's identifying as a type seven. I think I mentioned in one video um, that I had done some two team building sessions, I guess, with people, and one was with the team that I work with. And so I found out one of my coworkers is a type seven. I am curious to know what her subtype is because um, she doesn't look like a typical type seven. Also, I have a lovely, lovely, dear, sweet friend who lives kind of far from me, who I really want to see later this year. But she is a type seven also, and looks very different from this person. So it's very, very cool. It's cool to think about. And oh, the coffee, so good. So let me go over type sevens a little bit about like who they are at their core. So a lot of type sevens, as children, they may have lived in a home where there was some kind of tension that they picked up on. And it can be anything. I mean, it can be anything from like an abusive home to just like parents argued sometimes and it really affected them. It can be anything like that. And so the type seven child developed because they maybe picked up on this tension and chose to focus on like the positive because it made them feel better. Um, Also, they may have, and this is, I mean, don't take this literally. Don't feel like if this doesn't apply to you, that I'm wrong. This is just something that usually happens with type sevens, and that is they sometimes have a more of a connection with their mother or maternal parenting figure, and maybe felt like the paternal or the father figure was more like overbearing, um, maybe too intense for them, something like that. Um, and so that's where, like, if that applies to you, you could be a type seven. Um, and so as they've developed, they do have a core fear that they will miss out on the good things in life. Um, I like to say that they are the type most likely to have FOMO. Um, their core desire is to live a fulfilling life. Sometimes we want to say fun life, and I still like I'll say it like I'll throw out the word fun with type sevens, but it's not so much that they want to have fun; they just want to be fulfilled. And yes, sometimes being fulfilled looks like having fun. I mean, I know as a type four, like I don't necessarily say that I want to have fun in my life. Also, fun for me is like when I sit and watch Married at First Sight on a Friday night, like by myself, like that's fun for me. Um, but for a type seven, they will, they can actually, they're most likely to be the most extroverted of types, or at least present as extroverted. And so they usually like going places and doing things. So, for example, the two type sevens that I know who I think they present very differently. Um, One of them, she travels for work, loves it, really enjoys it. Um, the other type seven does not travel for work, but she loves going on vacation. Like, that's just a big, like, she will find any excuse to go on vacation. She's like, "Oh, where are we going next?" Like, that's very exciting for her. So that's a little bit about type sevens. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else I really want to say. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything else I want to say. So I will say, well, I'm saying it anyways. So, something very interesting about type sevens is that this is something I really wanted to share today because type sevens present as fun loving, um, adventurous, um, very driven. They're very driven. I'll say that. Like, they can be very driven um, in and they're in the head triad. They use their thoughts a lot. So they're actually like like a type 7 and a type 8 can be very like driven to like do things, like to get stuff done. Type 8s are a little more Type 8s are more intense about it. A type 7 is like, "Come on guys, let's get things done." And like they have the utmost enthusiasm. I actually listened to a podcast episode today. If you ever listen to Enneagram and Coffee, it's wonderful. I love me some Sarah Jane Case. She's the host. She's a redhead, and she has a great Instagram. I watch her on YouTube. I love her podcast. But she had a guest on whose name I totally forget. But Sarah Jane is a type 7, and the guest was a type 7. And the guest was talking about how she could help with like PR in companies, and being a type 7 is so beneficial because she gets people excited. That's what type 7s are like. They're like, we're gonna get it done like a type 8, but like they're gonna like do it with the utmost enthusiasm. Like, they can get very impatient with people who don't share that enthusiasm or who maybe present as negative. Like, if and even just people who are like, I don't know if that's the best idea. They're like, come on, like, why is it not the best idea? Like, it's amazing. Like, we should all do it. And they can have a hard time with that. But they do get very excited for things. And so sometimes, a lot of times, type 7s present as like the friend you really want, if that makes sense. However, type 7s can experience a lot of loneliness. And I say that because um, they identify with their thoughts and not with their feelings. They think before they feel. And so they will often think and do things based off of this is the best idea. And it's not until later that maybe they realize that they shouldn't have done something because maybe something just didn't feel right to them. Like, it can take a little while for them to get there. This is really good coffee this morning. I don't know why. I think it's just because I haven't had coffee in a few days. I've had a lot of tea. It's so good. It's so, so good. But yeah, type 7s don't always experience an emotional connection to people. So, for example, I was reading in the Complete Enneagram chapter about type 7s. The book is by Beatrice Chestnut. I should have said that too. But there is a type 7. There's an excerpt written by a type 7, and it's a man, and he's saying from a young age he knew he wanted to help people, which is interesting because a lot of so type 7s and type 2s can sometimes be difficult to identify because um, some type sevens are just so like, not only are they enthusiastic, they're enthusiastic about helping people and getting people excited. And so people think like, oh, you're such a helper, you must be a type two. And even Sarah Jane Case from Enneagram and Coffee, she's told a story about how people for years were telling her, you have to be a type two. And she's like, I don't know. I don't feel like a type two. She's a type seven. And so this type seven in the complete Enneagram said he really wanted to help people. And so he studied really hard to become a surgeon, which is a lot. I mean, it's what I know from anything in the medical realm. It's not business. The medical realm, like, is it takes a lot of work, and it should. Like, I'm glad that we have healthcare workers who are very educated and are skilled and always honing those skills. It's awesome. And if you're in the medical field, good for you. Uh, and thank you so much for taking care of people. Like, it's such a big deal. And so this seven wanted to do that, studied very hard to become a surgeon. And he said he um, put aside a lot of just like normal self care things, a lot of just like comfort for studying hard and becoming a surgeon. And because he had like a long term mindset, like it's okay if I'm not comfortable today, because one day I will reach my goal and then I can be comfortable. Like I will, surgeons make good money. So he's like, one day I can, go on the vacations and I can, buy the nice car that won't break down all the time. However, and so he had that mindset. Um, and then even when he became a surgeon and he was living the lifestyle that he wanted, he was married, like he got married at some point. He never said anything about children, but he was married, and he said even after years of marriage, he still struggled to connect with his partner as much as he wanted to. Um, and that's a very common uh, type. His issue, like his pros and his cons of being a type seven, are very common. Um, a lot of type sevens, even though they want so much to be fulfilled, they can often put aside like self care in order to be fulfilled, whatever that means to them. And that's the thing. Like you realize, like it doesn't have to be like going on vacation is the most fun and fulfilling thing they can do. Like sometimes it is just studying hard because in the future you will reach a really big goal and eventually get to go on the vacations because you've reached your goal. Um, and even Sarah Jane Case, she shared on her Instagram, she shared that in college she had pulled like like several nights of all nighters and ended up falling because she was in school, she just would work hard, but she was also like very concerned with not missing out on fun things that um, other people were doing, and so she pulled all these all nighters and ended up falling asleep behind the wheel one day and got in an awful accident. Um, and my friend who's a type seven has expressed before that well, it's interesting. One, she has expressed that she has been a bridesmaid before for people who like she wasn't good friends with, which is interesting because they probably thought they were closer than what they really were. And she's also expressed that she just doesn't have, at the time, this was several years ago, so people change. Um, but she has also expressed that she doesn't have compassion for people. Not that she's unloving, like she really she's lovely. She's really one of the most lovely, kind people and fair-minded people that I know. But she's like, I just don't have compassion for people. Um, and so I wanted to share these stories about type sevens today and kind of the downside of type sevens because it's so easy to look at type sevens and go, oh my God, they're so much fun. Like, I want to be friends with that person. They're so much fun. And forget that they are human beings. Um, and forget also like why they are the way they are. Not to say that we should force them to talk about it. If a type 7 wants to talk about their past, they can or they cannot, and that's their choice. Um, but please know, like, if you have a type 7 who you are close to and you know it, like maybe you've been friends for years, if they have shared like negative things with you, anything negative with you, like, please know, like, you are so fortunate to have that person in your life because they don't share the negative with anybody. Um, like, you are privileged to hear that. Like, you are privileged to um, you are privileged because they don't trust just anybody. Um, so good for them. And if you have a type 7 in your life who maybe you think you're close to, but they haven't shared anything negative, like, my only suggestion is like, just let them come to you. Like, if you ask something about something negative and they answer with like reframing it as a positive thing, like if you're like, tell me about your childhood, and they're like, it was great. And you're like, was it? That's their choice. You don't need to dig. Also, sevens are in the assertive stance. So, like, and when they're not doing well, they can sometimes present or take on these negative traits of type fives. Oh, sorry, not type fives, type, it's fine, type one. I don't know why, like, I just got them switched, the 5 and the 1. When they can take on these negative traits that are type 1, and they can sometimes be, like, a little passive aggressive, like, show anger, things like that. Um, and so if that happens, like, just know, like, just apologize. Like, it's okay to just say, "Hey, I wasn't trying to make you mad. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have done that to you because that's not what I wanna do." And also let them know that if they aren't presenting as fun loving and adventurous and brave and all of those spontaneous, if they are not doing that, if they are maybe acting like an unhealthy type 1, if they're becoming in some ways aloof, they can be a little aloof, or angry, just let them know that you're not, somehow let them know that you're not mad at them. Like, you still care about them because that is hard for a type 7. I wouldn't say they necessarily get embarrassed if they do get angry. Yeah, they don't feel, I wouldn't say they always get embarrassed. They can be. They can feel embarrassed, like, oh, I let my anger out. Um, but that's not what they want. Like, they don't want to ever present as angry. So if that does happen, just let them know that you still care about them. And it's okay to be angry. You're like, hey, I'm not mad at you. Like, I know you got angry, but like, I get angry sometimes. Like, it's a human thing to feel anger. Um, so I want to say about type sevens, we need to show them more love than because they don't always present as needing love. They actually don't present as needy. They are usually very independent. They like doing things on their own. Like, if they need to do it on their own, they will, and they will enjoy it as much as possible. So, um, yeah, I want to leave you guys with that. We're almost at 30 minutes. Wow, this is like probably one of the shortest lives I've ever done. So yeah, type sevens. Next week, we're actually going to type 6. I didn't realize that the complete Enneagram, I thought it went in triads. I thought I was going to complete the anger triad this week with type 1, but it's not. It's just 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, all the way to 1. So next week will be type sixes, um, which I'm excited for because I know a type six, and yeah, I know a couple of type sixes, um, and we're gonna fours and sixes kind of are can mistype as each other pretty often, I've heard. I've never mistyped as a type six, but I do relate to them. So I'm excited to talk about them also. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a fantastic week. I hope you are learning from the Enneagram. If there's um, if there's anything that you any books or just any topic that you want to know more about, like please let me know either on here or on my Instagram, which is at Enneagram Fox. So, because I definitely want to hear from you. And I am interested to hear what people want to know more about because I know what I want to know more about. And so I'm going to talk about it. But if you want to know more about anything, like I would love to share it or at least go find some research to share with you guys. So, hope you're having a fantastic weekend. And I hope next week is, I hope it's even better. I hope you prioritize yourself and share some love with a type 7 friend. Bye, guys.